moms, welcome back to our channel. Today we are continuing our series of Humanizing Moms, and we have Queen with us on the couch.
Hey guys!
And we're going to talk to her about her experience as mom and whatever you would like to share with us.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Y'all want to open up with a question? Get my juices flowing.
Okay. So basically, at least I know when I was first pregnant, and then even definitely like right after, I had a hard time finding real conversations with real moms about things that happen while you're pregnant, or how you feel about things postpartum after you've had the baby. And then so part of the reason I thought to ask you, we talked about moms we wanted to ask and see who wanted to be a part of it, was I know you have two sons, and which of course you don't have to share names or whatever you're comfortable sharing. But and I know that I know that your husband's away sometimes for work, and you're a full-time working mom just like I am, So I just thought it would be interesting to hear maybe some of the things that you experienced, whether you had things that you felt that may have been while you were pregnant with one or the other or both, and then just kind of walk us through maybe some of the negative, more like concerning things that you felt afterwards. And it doesn't have to be necessarily physical. It can be, if you want to talk about a struggle with weight or how you viewed yourself, that's fine. But anything that you want to share that has to do with some of the things that weren't so, sunshines and rainbows.
Yeah. I know lately I've been struggling with weight a lot. Not because like I gained a lot, or I don't know. I just have this goal in mind when it comes to weight that I'm trying to be at. And it's not just for, physical, like the way I look purposes, but just because I want to be overall like healthier and stuff.
Sure.
Because I have like this really big fear of like not being here to see my kids grow up for some reason.
Sure.
Like I've had people in my family die from like diabetes and just all different types of stuff.
Sure.
And my mom's actually in the hospital now for some things that she's got going on that I feel like could have been prevented,
Right.
So I want to see my grandkids,
Right, yeah.
So I'm just like, okay,
Sure.
let me do better in that area. So I'm like exercising more now and trying to like be more aware of what I'm eating and stuff.
Makes sense.
So that's been one thing that I've been trying to deal with. But I know emotionally, is more so trying to find time for myself.
Yeah, sure.
Because that can be really hard, especially being, I'm not really a single mom because I do have a partner, but he's a truck driver. So he's not home good 80-90% of the time. Like we don't even get to see him on weekends sometimes.
Right.
So it just kind of depends. And between having to get them ready for daycare, get myself, it's hard to exercise, or it's always hard to like eat right because you have like areas of your life just like trickling down and you start losing it, like you're feeling out of control, So that's been something that I've been struggling with, just trying to find me time.
Sure.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes me feel like a bad mom because I'm like, you're neglecting your kids. But I try to like not think about it like that.
Yeah.
There have been times where when I first had Messiah, that's my oldest, he's 3. I had the doctor tell me, like, you go there and they tell you about the postpartum and things, how you can, become emotionally unstable and blah, blah, blah. And they told me, it's better for you to let your child cry than for you to, like, get angry with them or angry about the situation and then it just tumbleweeds down.
Right.
And so that was hard for me at first, trying to, like, be okay with my kids crying.
Yeah, you want to comfort them. You don't want them to be upset.
That's a natural instinct.
Right. Absolutely. And so now that I have 2, I'm just like, look. Because I don't look. Because I have to, and thank God, Kai, he is the newest. He's 10 months, almost a year soon. But thankfully, he is more so now, like, being more interactive and stuff.
Yeah,
so I can, like, put them in the room together.
Yeah.
And then I can go do what I need to do. Because I just bought an elliptical for my home for my birthday. And I use that. I try to do like 30 minutes a day. And it's not always possible because the way my schedule is set up. I get home at like 6:30-ish. And then I have like 2.5 hours to do everything I need to do to get ready for the next morning.
Sure.
Because I know if I don't go to bed at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna have a hard time getting up in the morning,
Yeah.
right? So I have to like make the baby bottles, get clothes ready, exercise, feed the kids, bathe the kids, like do all that stuff within that small window. So sometimes exercise doesn't always happen. But what I've been able to do lately is just be like, okay, kids, you guys are gonna go play in this room because mommy needs some time to take care of mommy.
Yeah.
So I'll put them in the room, and now they just play and do their thing, and I'm out there doing my thing. So that's been helpful, having another baby for them to
keep them
to play with.
Yeah.
Reasons to have a second child.
Okay, because at first I was just like, oh my God, are we doing this again? Like, really? But then it's working out in my favor now. So
Right.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That
Yeah, I
is
know.
good.
I see things all the time that say like, the best thing you can be for your kid is happy. Like,
yes.
because if you're not happy and you're not making that, or you're doing the best that you can to make that time, then they feed off of every energy, everything that we say, everything we feel, our reactions, our emotions. So, and I know like I got really lucky. So we sleep trained Oliver when he was 3.5 months old, which I never thought I would do that early because that's kind of early. They normally suggest like 6 months or whatever, and we did the cry it out method. But I can honestly say, I cried the first night because we were co-sleeping. Another thing I'd say I'd never do that, being a mom is all about adaptability.
Right.
And so, but like, I remember, I sleep trained him, and that was my godsend because he went to bed early on. He went to bed later because when they're little, they don't need as much sleep, or they don't sleep as long, I should say. So he slept, I think it was like 5 to maybe 6 hours a night, which is pretty good for a almost 4-month old.
Yeah.
And I remember like coming, especially after I got back from coming to work, or going back to work, I would literally come home and I would be like, I missed him, but I also knew that I needed that downtime.
Yes.
And it was because otherwise, like, if he hadn't sleep trained, I don't know how long it would have been before I felt, and it helped with everything. It helped with my mood. It helped with my energy. I was able to just get a couple of things done if I wanted, or not do anything if I didn't want to.
Right. Yeah.
And it made a huge difference. But it's super important because, I mean, you have to be in a really good place to make them feel all of that good stuff that they need to get from us. And if you're not, then they don't.
Yeah. I remember the first time I like really broke down and cried in front of my kid, in front of Messiah. He wasn't even wanting it. I was just going through some things emotionally, and I was like boo-hoo crying. And he was just looking at me like, what's the matter? Like, he could feel that something was wrong.
They know.
So ever since then, I just was okay. I'm not gonna go there in front of them anymore because I don't want them to feed off that energy.
Yeah.
Because even now, with Messiah being 3, like me and his dad might argue about something. We were arguing one time about something, and he's like, "Calm down."
Oh my God.
Calm down. And I'm just like, yeah, Javon, calm down. I was like, look, we can't be arguing like this in front of these kids.
Yeah.
They know now, like they can feel that and sense that. So I mean, I'm trying to do better with that.
They learn to understand.
Yeah.
Like it's conversation that we had with another mom is eventually they understand, and you could have adult conversations with them.
Right.
We didn't do that with my 12-month-old yet.
Not yet.
No, she just looks.
Right.
She's like, okay, but I'm
She
gonna
says,
do whatever I was doing anyway.
But I want this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I struggled with breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Because with my first son, I was at home with him for those first 6 months, so it was easy, But when I went back to work with my second, I went back to work.
You went back to work early
So quick
because it wasn't even 6 weeks.
It
right?
was. I don't even think.
It was like 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even know if he was a month old. Like,
Yeah.
but it was just so quick because our policy, whatever it's called,
Which is completely different now.
it's trash. Right, and I was so upset about that.
Me too. We all had them.
She was telling me about that, how the company has
and
changed now.
they just it was more it was better for me to go back to work and get my regular check opposed to waiting on my maternity leave
crazy
because
discount, and you had to. That's right.
Right.
So before our hourly policy, you had to wait 2 pay periods.
right, yes.
So the only reason that didn't happen for me was because I was salary, so I only had to wait 1. But yeah, so
Yeah.
she would have been at home
Oh, wow.
for over a month before
with
getting
no pay,
with
with
no
a brand
pay.
new baby.
That's right.
That doesn't
That
make sense.
is.
I totally forgot about that. That's
yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
so when I went through that and I had to go back to work sooner than I expected to. I wasn't breastfeeding like I wanted to, and I eventually just stopped because my production it just went down, it plummeted, and I was so upset about it because I don't know, breastfeeding was for me. Like it was something that I was like, okay,
You
I
really
love
wanted to
this,
do.
I'm gonna do
Sure.
this, right?
Yeah.
And then for it to be cut in half so much, I just feel like, I feel like he didn't get that. I mean, because we still bond, obviously. You
Yeah,
know?
of course. Yeah,
But I
there's
just
other
feel
ways.
like but I just feel like he didn't, because we didn't get to experience that. I feel like he missed out on something, even though he
Yeah.
doesn't know. But I
Yeah.
know, you know.
I know what you mean. Yeah, of course.
right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of hard.
Yeah. So like you kind of struggle with feeling guilty about it. Or,
Exactly. Yeah, because I feel like I didn't give him my best. You know, because
Yeah.
But you
that's
did.
just what I thought.
Like, and I think that's part of the struggle is like you did give him your best, but circumstances around it, like you can't control. Like that's one of the things about like it's different for me because I stay at home with Arya all the time. I mean, there was a struggle at one point, and I cried for days. But going back to work, like I was able to make the decision to not go back to work. But I don't know like how it would have been if I had decided to keep my job
Yeah.
because it was like no break time because I worked in a food industry, like I was supervising food industry. So like you're go all the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you guys had a good setup at work. It's just things are different for everybody when they go back to work.
Depends
you
on.
know?
Like we, especially because when we were in the service industry,
Yeah.
we knew so many people that came back to work like fresh out of the hospital because they have to.
Yes.
There is no pregnancy maternity policy when you're in those industries.
When you're a server,
Yeah.
a waitress,
And
you
I
know?
think I did okay with it. I struggled in the very beginning with breastfeeding, and then I was able to do better in terms of like I had a really great coach, and she helped me get where I needed to get in terms of positioning him, and because he would not go for any of that. We had to lay down. That was the only way. I had to be on my side, and he had to be laying down. He was so lazy, and so but
no
you know.
football for you.
It was
Right.
literally, no, he wouldn't. And I tried the Bobby. He hated that thing. He never used it even when he was like trying to sit up and stuff. But so I remember like, when I went back to work, I thought, okay, I just got to stay focused. You and I talked about it. I've had conversations with you when I was in the process. Like it was one thing that I really wanted to do. I did not like doing it. I'm a little different in that regard, but I did it because I thought it was what was best. And when your body is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's hard not to feel that way. I mean, one of the probably the biggest emotional things I went through with it was I had a surgery when Oliver was almost 4 months old, and because I had to go under anesthesia for it, I had to pump and dump everything.
24 hours.
Do you
right?
know that was the first time in 2 months that I pumped more than 3 ounces? Those bottles were full. I cried my eyes out when I poured them down the drain. And after that, when I had to pump the rest of the time and dump for 24 hours until the anesthesia's out of my system, I had to make Rick pour it out because I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was devastated. And then it never came back.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time I tried to pump at work the next 2 days after that or whenever it was. And I nothing, 45 minutes, nothing. And I was like, okay, like I can either continue to stress myself out and be really upset, or I can just accept that he's going to be taken care of regardless, and that's what matters.
Right, yeah. And it's better you have the money than your job. I started feeling bad because I was just like, okay, I've been in this maternity room for almost 2 hours now. I need to go back to work. So
it's a pull and tug.
Yeah, definitely that.
It is. I think, and then I know like when I went back to work, I had just guilt about not being home in general.
Oh yeah,
like being especially because he is sleep trained, and now I have to leave so early in the morning. He's not awake. Like I only see him like 3 hours a day during the week, and that's hard too.
Yeah.
So I know I struggled with that in particular because it was, I mean, I want to be here with him all the time, not doing
Yeah.
anything else if I could, you know.
I mean, and you get the weekends, but it's still,
It's not the same.
it's not the same.
And it's not enough. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
It's not enough time.
I get that. I know, like, that's one thing that I think, so, that Mike struggles with probably, is we're lucky that he gets to go to work early and come home early, so he gets time, but now Arya's going to bed earlier in the night. Like, she used to be a late sleeper, because we would get up early to take him to the MARTA, and she'd go back to sleep for like 3 hours when we got home, and so she wasn't going to bed until 9:30 because that was, she slept in, you know, but now she's decided 7:30 is bedtime. So that time,
That's
it's
shortened.
it's like when you're pulling tug, like with you going back to work and doing that, like our struggle now is time. Like that's been the struggle, is making sure he gets quality time with her.
Yeah.
Because I'm home with her all day, and it's also different though, because being at home all day is, when do you get time for yourself?
Yes.
It's a different battle.
It's different. It's a different battle.
Very true.
But you know, when he gets home now, she wants to see him.
Sure.
And that's great. Spend all the time with daddy that you want.
Right.
But it went from, she would take a nap right before he got home, and then he would have 4 hours with her being awake and she'd go to bed, to now it's like 2.5 to 3 hours, because we spend an hour doing bedtime, because that's just our routine. We eat dinner, and then 2 nights a week one of us is gone because we have chorus.
Yeah.
So on Tuesdays he doesn't really get to see her except for during dinner time.
Right.
So, but now it's like that time battle, and that's something that's new to me,
Yeah.
that I'm like struggling
for a long
with.
time, I thought
watching,
I needed
like,
more money in my life,
mm,
and that's I realized as I was like meditating and stuff. I'm like, oh, I really need more time, like
more time.
to be able to spend with my kids and do stuff for myself without having to worry about my kids. Like,
Yeah.
So how do you find like balancing your time, because you both don't get very much time?
Right.
So I mean, do you just try to compensate that by doing just like family time, or you get specific time because you're home at night, or like how does that kind of
I
work?
think we plan to in the future, because we've talked about like trying to do family vacations
Sure.
and like planning things where it's like, okay, it's gonna be your weekend with the kids, or not even just your weekend, but you'll
just
like
you're
have
the
a moment.
primary. Yeah.
Right, like we'll do a thing where it's just like, okay, today it's just gonna be me and Messiah, or you know, the next day it's just gonna be Kai and his dad. You know,
Sure,
like they're gonna have. We plan for those things, but right now we just really winging it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, like today he gets to spend the day with the kids.
Yeah, but see, he has a thing later today, so we'll like split up our time
Yeah,
within the day.
Okay.
Because like I'm doing something this morning, and so we plan for, okay, I'm gonna be out doing my thing in the morning, and you be out doing your thing in the evening,
Right.
and then we switch off.
so you're both getting the time. It's just split.
And it's a
Right,
different
yeah.
quality time.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know that for the girl, she is like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, active in the daytime.
Mm.
And in the nighttime, like she tries to like, let's play hard, you know, but it's different.
Yeah.
Like she's
Yeah,
so
she
much
is different at night.
She's
I've
so
noticed that.
totally different at night.
A little more
and-
like, okay, I'm trying to keep up here. Like
I'm awake.
yeah.
Are you really though?
I'm awake.
But
like-
Oh.
So, you know, that daytime play is different. So is that something do you experience with your boys?
No, not really. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're boys, but they are very
Is it
up
I
and
don't
alert
know.
and rambunctious all the time.
Yep, that's all.
Until
we're
they're
So
sleeping?
it's just
I mean, he was like, let's go. And then I heard nothing when you laid him down.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
It happens that quick
so
for
quick.
him sometimes.
Yeah.
And she has to talk herself to sleep sometimes.
Nope.
Yeah. No, I know.
I don't know if some of that is just his personality or if it's because we sleep train so early. But yeah, like my mother-in-law tells me all the time, she's like, he goes to bed so good. His dad was not like that. You're so lucky.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, I'll take it.
I'm
like
not like that.
See, Messiah, he still wants to be up when it's bedtime, and me and Kai are like, falling
we're all ready for
asleep.
bed. You're gonna have to figure it
right.
out. Like,
It's just, we be like, look, lock him in that room. Like, for real. But no, he's doing, I guess with him having school now, he's doing better because he'll be kind of tired. Because we have to wake up before the sun will get up. And he's like, Mommy, it's still nighttime. I'm like, well, you have to go to school. You have to get up before the sun. It's like that. Welcome. Like, here we are.
It's going to be like this the rest of your life.
Right.
At least the next 15 years of your life.
Get used to it. So.
I wonder, like, when I think about, like, what time, I mean, I've had to adjust my schedule since we moved, but, like, I know, I think sometimes, like, I don't know how I ever made it to high school when I drove myself, because high school was 7:25 was the late bell, or 7:30 was the late bell.
Yes.
And I'm like, how did I ever go through 4 years of being up at like 6 in the morning?
But it
like,
was worse because the last 2 years when you lived near us and your school was so far away.
Yeah, it was like a 45-minute drive. We lived out of zone. Yeah, we lived out of zone.
Yeah,
but I didn't want to switch schools. I was already like in my junior year.
I mean, but you were in an advanced program, so you had the option to keep.
Yeah,
going.
but you still had to be in the same county, and we were not in the same county. So the other day when we were talking about just some ideas for things to talk to moms about to kind of get them thinking in the direction of what to talk about for this segment, one of the things that we talked about was like moms who like, especially for a first time mom, but maybe even when you have two, I can't imagine what that feels like. But you know, this moment of like, oh my God, like I'm now responsible for this, like, you know. So I was just curious if you ever had like a moment of I guess like a first doubt of being a mom, like being able to do what it takes to be a mom, or you know, anything like that you might have felt after either Messiah or Kai or both or whatever.
I think because of my personality type, like I'm very optimistic, easygoing, right? Yeah. So I don't really like stress myself about stuff, especially things that I don't. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know if tomorrow will come, so I can't worry about it. You know, like it's one of those things where people say today's problems are enough. You know, you can't worry yourself with tomorrow's problems. Sure. So I think for me, I didn't really have much of that moment outside of when I found out I was pregnant with Kai. Okay. Because when I found out I was pregnant with Kai, I didn't tell anybody for a long time because I honestly didn't know if I was going to have the baby. Okay. That's where I was with it. Like, people at work just knew I was pregnant, swore I was pregnant. I'm like, what you talking about? You don't know nothing. You know, and then turned out I was pregnant because Kai, he was a old baby. Mm-hmm. Because I had just had Messiah, and you know, for me, with where I was in my relationship and with my partner being a truck driver, he wasn't home a lot. That was stressing me. Sure. Right. Because all of that responsibility was on me. Yes. And like, I literally did not shower for days when I had Messiah because I was home by myself and you just breastfeeding, changing, like I was home by myself. Like, people would come by, visit, drop stuff off, cool, but there was not 24/7 help. You know, it was just me. Right. You know, my partner was truck driving, and it was just like I didn't have that like 24/7 support that some people have. Yeah, I was living by myself at that point. You know, because like I said, my partner was truck driver, and it was just me and the baby. You know, so and I was a first time mom. Like I was like, what's the shower? Like, it was like that for a minute. But I think because I wasn't comfortable in my relationship with my partner at the time because of all the stress that I endured as a single parent with him being a truck driver with the first child, that's where some fear and doubt came in with the second child. Sure. Right. Because I'm like, okay, I'm already doing this with one, and you want to add a whole another one to the picture? Yeah. That's like another 30 minutes earlier that I have to get up every day to deal. Because like today I got ready. I just got up by myself, you know, so I can get in, get out in 15, 30 minutes and be good. Yeah. But when it comes to having kids, an hour. Yeah. And a half, really. It takes a long time. I have to be at work at 8 o'clock. I get up at 5. Every morning of the week. Yeah. And so it's that bad because the youngest, he's cool. Like when he wakes up in the morning, he's good. He's like literally jumping out his sleep smiling. But the oldest, he is terrible when it comes to waking up in the morning. He's like crying and whining. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do that. I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't want to get dressed. I'm just like, what do you want to do? You know? So when I got pregnant with the second child, I was so like unsure if I wanted to go through with it. Sure. Yeah. And, you know, I talked myself out of that space it ended up being, like I said, a really good thing for me, because now that my oldest has somebody else to play with, I'm like, you helping me out.
Yeah.
You know, so that it worked out, but it was scary, because I was like, okay, I can either look at this and continue to like be negative about it essentially, or I can try to look at this and think about all the positive things that can come from it.
Right.
And then just thinking like, with my partner, maybe this go around, especially now that I'm used to it, you know, like
Sure.
I have a child already, I've kind of been through it already. Maybe this go around with this child can give me and my partner a fresh start, or like a, you know, just like a new beginning essentially, because now I can allow him to go and do what he wants to do and be okay with it.
Sure.
You know, like before,
Makes sense.
he was also stressed because he knew that I was stressed and he felt bad, you know, but he thinks I'm doing what I need to do for the family, you know, I'm trying, you know, and so I don't ever want to like chastise him or make him feel bad.
Sure. Yeah.
But, you know, the stresses are still there. They're still very real.
Yeah.
And so I had to look at it from a different perspective going this time around with the second child. I'm like, okay, let me try to do this and be okay with this and like let him know that I'm okay with this so that he can live his best life and we can, you know, have that freedom within our relationship to love on each other and trust each other and just know that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So it was a moment, you know, but we got out of it and we're good.
Yeah.
We're really good. Like it's definitely different being in this space now that we've kind of been through it.
Sure.
With the first child.
Yeah.
Now we like trust each other more and are like happier with our just lives, period.
The way it's set up. Yeah.
Right, because it just, I guess things just had to fall into place.
Yeah.
Hey moms, thanks for stopping by and checking out this installment of Humanizing Moms. If you like what we're doing, let us know by hitting the like button or commenting below. To check out more of the series, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to get notified when the next installment is up. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.